know the amount of effort it takes to create these fucking bots? Shit. Get the wrong one. Okay, he has a name though, we should kick him right now.
Hold on just one second. How did I get here? To answer that, we need to look at Team Fortress 2 and the Valve problem. I have always said that there is only one true test of a game's quality, and that is time. A small subset of games have aged like fine wine and become part of the game canon for the rest of eternity, while countless more have faded into the past, never to be seen or heard from again. With time being the only test of quality, no game, in my opinion, has aged better than Team Fortress 2. The classic shooter, Team Fortress 2, also known as TF2, has its roots all the way back in the 90s, when Team Fortress got its start as a class-based mod for Quake. Team Fortress 2 came out in 2007 and was included with the critically acclaimed Orange Box. Team Fortress 2 at launch was not even close to the game I know and love today. Valve took a unique approach to Team Fortress 2 for the time. They updated the game. For free. And while I can hear you all saying that there's something really unique about that, you might be forgetting that this is the late 2000s we're talking about here. The typical game lifecycle looks something like this. Start developing your game. Market the upcoming launch of your game. Launch the game to as much fanfare as possible. Now, this is an optional step. Patch game baking problems for the people that have an internet connection. You can do that within the first couple weeks of launch, and you're off to the next one. Rinse and repeat. The only games at the time that had regular updates were subscription games, like Blizzard's World of Warcraft, which required a monthly payment to play. Most companies could not see how free, regular updates to a game could make any money or economic sense. In comes Valve. Valve, on the other hand, was in a unique position. They believed that they could cover the development costs for free updates with the use of optional cosmetics delivered via the newest invention in gaming, loot boxes. And so it was that from the start of TF2, the game was updated with new weapons, game modes, maps, lore, and even comic books, all funded via the power of the loot box hat system. It was so successful that TF2 actually went free to play in 2011, becoming one of the first true games as a service products. Let's jump forward to modern TF2. The game has not seen an update since 2017, and it's overrun with hackers and bots. Where did it all go wrong? Did the freemium loot box model fail to make money? Did all the players leave? The answer to both of these is a no. Team Fortress 2 is regularly hitting new record player numbers, even 14 years after launch, and there's no evidence to suggest that the game is not making bucket loads of money to this day. So, what's the problem? What would make a game company walk away from a critically acclaimed game that still makes plenty of money to this very day, even all those years after launch? The answer is at the core of Valve itself. The very same unique set of circumstances that led to Team Fortress 2's creation has ultimately been as much of a problem as it has been a blessing. There are a few things that are unique to Valve that you should know. Number 1. Valve does not need money. They have a little program that you might have heard of called Steam. It acts basically like a free money glitch that lets them rake in the cash without having to do much of anything. This means that Valve has no economic incentive to keep their games running. The second thing is that Valve's corporate structure is not like any other company's. Valve works with what is called a flat management model, meaning that there are supposed to be no managers, and employees can work on whatever projects they want to. Desks are all on wheels and can be moved from team to team at will. In practice, this system has come with some problems. No strict deadlines until a public launch date is set means that many projects can end up wallowing in this mire of vaporware. Projects that have been announced or are known of by the public, but have not come out or had any sort of a public-facing update in years and years. Actually, Scott the Woz has a great video on it, and I will put it in the description. These two factors mean that Valve is not motivated by almost any conventional factors. The developers are driven by an interest in the intellectual property that they are working on, and maybe the community. As the years go on, how can you blame some of these developers for wanting to work on newer projects, not just the funny, gambling, hat-powered game from 2007? Because of Valve being Valve, no one was hired to replace the developers who left the Team Fortress team. While we have no true way of knowing, it is rumored that there is only 1 to 2 people working on the game, and that is not even full-time. When trying to think of solutions to the Valve problem, one thing has crossed my mind more than once. Why does Valve not just sell the game if they are not using the intellectual property? I know that no matter what, Valve would never just sell TF2. Valve has a long history of never selling their games, and I don't think they ever would in the future. But it is an interesting thought experiment nonetheless to imagine Team Fortress 2 under the command of another developer. Whenever I picture it, however, I can think of no company that would be up to the monumental task. The magic feeling of Team Fortress 2's world and story could not be replicated by anyone else but Valve. The SFM shorts alone are dripping with the classic Valve style of humor and finesse. Valve reportedly was even asked by Adult Swim to make a pilot for a full TV show starring the Team Fortress 2 characters. And it took so long that Adult Swim was no longer interested, because Valve is Valve. I think that at the end of the day, Valve has seemingly always been, and always will be, an abusive parent to Team Fortress 2. Every aspect of the game goes against Valve's corporate structure. Some days Valve will lavish the game with updates and lore, and others not wanting to talk to TF2, and disowning it out of the Valve family altogether. At times, it can be a shame that the one game I fell in love with ended up being the one made by a company so well known for doing nothing that it's become a household meme. But, while the constant updates to games like Valorant can look appealing, time is the only true test of a game's quality. And by that metric, Team Fortress 2 is still golden. As time continues to march on, however, Valve, please, don't let Team Fortress fade and die slowly. It deserves better. Thank you for watching. If you want to check out some of the other videos I've made, both about Valve and other projects, if you found this video interesting, you'll definitely find them interesting as well. I will leave a link to all of that down below, and make sure to check a look at my channel. Thank you guys.